Hello and welcome to the 27th episode of the Bunker to Bunker podcast. We are coming off of the fourth long shot victory in just as many weeks, with Matthieu Pavon winning the Farmers Insurance Open, coming in at, I think, 150 to 1, which is another big number. It is the year of the underdog. Josh, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, for golf, it's a year of like the underdog. We could have had a underdog with the Detroit Lions last night,
Yeah.
which I feel like we'll probably do a podcast on that, um, just on that all-time collapse. But yeah, it was you know, Pavon or however you pronounce his name. I apologize. He had like a pretty good story. I don't know if you caught it, but his whole thing was like he had like a tattoo on his hand
Uh-huh.
that talked about, I forget, I want to say it's probably a father or mother, but it said the saliva that um now this won't load. I'll read the quote later, but you know he almost choked. Like, I don't know if you actually saw. Like I know like
Yeah.
the time difference is it's hard for not a elevated event or a major, but he missed like a 5 foot putt for par on 17 to drop his lead to 1. There's like Hoygaard and I think two others were at 11, and he pulls it pulls it left off the tee, then lays up back into like the rough, and the announcers were like, "What can he do? Like, does he just lay back up or does he go for it?" So he goes for it, puts it to like 8 feet, and makes his putt. So it really like the tides were turning. Like I was hoping for him to choke in a way not to lose it, but to give us some theatrics, which he did.
Yeah.
So that's definitely for the names on the leaderboard. It definitely lived up. They just really made it was like the best. I guess it's like the second best finish we had. I don't know if you can um compete with Nick Dunlap, amateur, winning at the Amex 2 weeks ago, but it definitely had some theatrics towards the end.
Yeah, I just sent you a video that just surfaced this morning. I'm curious if you've seen it yet. If you haven't, give it a watch. But there is some chatter about on 18 when Pavon was in the rough that I don't know if you've seen it, he potentially stepped down on the rough to essentially take it out of play, make the contact cleaner. And the video shows a rather purposeful step. I don't think it's, really anything that just people just trying to find a storyline, but curious if you have any thoughts on that.
I would have to watch the video.
Yeah, he kind of steps
Uh,
behind his ball and then he just takes a pretty forceful step with his foot. It looks like he's trying to smush some grass down, but I don't think it's anything.
I mean, I'm not really seeing. I mean, I do. I mean, I do see it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I don't. I don't know. I mean, golf. That's what makes golf like it's just a different sport than any other sport. That it's
Hmm.
mostly that you're not like the ref, but like you still
You
have
are, yeah.
like, like there is an honor code to it to
Hmm.
some extent. Um, so I mean, did he like maybe? It's an interesting video. I think he like. I think is he using his foot just to like get a feel for like the grass? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I personally never played in that thick of rough ever, so I can't say that like guess to use like your feet is a advantage and stuff. But um if he did, kudos to him, I guess. uh, I don't, I'm not really sure. I mean, have you done that before? Like just like in
No,
like very
it's
thick rough?
well, it's one of those things where it does make sense, right? I mean, footing and your footing on the ground is equally as important as your swing, because if you slip or if you don't have a strong base, then you can't obviously power through the golf ball. So it does make sense to get more of a feeler, but there is, again, I don't think anything comes of it, but it is a little bit questionable as to how it happened directly behind the ball. You know, the you want to go compare a lie that's close to the ball or something. It's just a little bit weird that it happened directly behind the ball, but again, I don't really think anything major was done. So
Yeah, I
just
mean,
another
I don't think this
storyline
is.
potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really see it. I don't think anyone was really talking about it, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But definitely something interesting. But I found the golf.com website finally loaded, and he had a tattoo on his hand that said, "The saliva that flows now will become the tears of joy tomorrow." So I think
Okay.
it's interesting that these last 4 weeks, I mean, we knew who Chris Kirk was, but these last 3 weeks, you kind of see this long shot and you kind of hear these like stories, which I know we've talked about trying to kind of showcase stories potentially on this podcast as maybe like a future segment to try to get, low profile, low tier golfers on to kind of share their stories. So it's kind of funny that we kind of have been talking about that, and then 4 long shots win, and 3 of them, I mean, Chris Kirk's a name. I mean, he won last year at the Honda, kind of went through his sobriety journey. So, we kind of heard his name already. He's been on tour forever. But, Grayson Murray, Nick Dunlap, and now last week is kind of great story. So, I guess obviously for like the average fan, it kind of sucks not having like these big names in it. We have more elevated events to go, but I think that's something that's interesting for me being above average fan, just to learn about these people's stories and journeys of golf. 'Cause I think that's what makes golf special, because there is no one path. Like, you don't
Mhm.
go to college to play, football and basketball, and then you go straight there. It's a very unique path. There's, you know, 10, 15 different ways that you can get on tour. So I think that what makes golf unique is coming to light, um, the last month or so.
Yeah, we haven't gotten a an update on your favorite golfer, Chris Goddard. I don't know if you've seen. He's made 2 starts so far. American Express last week, Farmers this week. Missed cut at the American Express, tied 50th at the Farmers. So I don't know if you have any outstanding opinions on our guy.
Um, well, I think this so Torrey sets up better for him. If you're an elite driver, which I think if you asked him or if you asked me his skill set, I would say that I think his driving.
Yeah.
So he sets up better for Torrey than he would the American Express. But yeah, no, he's obviously very talented. But I think the hype was very hype around, like, I guess a year or two ago. But everyone's talking about this guy named Jake Knapp. If you've seen his swing, it's the most
Hmm.
effortless swing, but he hits it. I don't know like his ball speed, but it's like it doesn't really make sense. It's a great swing. He has a great look to him. He's a rookie from the Corn Ferry Tour, so he's definitely a name to look out for, probably over Chris Goddard.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess transitioning to that and some other golf news that apparently dropped 16 minutes ago. Apparently, Tyrrell Hatton has signed for LIV Golf. A bunch of news outlets are reporting that he has signed the dotted line for a $60 million signing bonus, and he would join John Rahm's team. Again, nothing official yet, but it is apparently a done deal. He signed for this amount, and we're just waiting on the LIV Golf announcement. So potentially another domino has fallen, but not sure really.
I did not see this.
Yeah.
So this is breaking news to me. Breaking news on Bunker to Bunker podcast. This is what we do. But yeah, I'm looking at flushing it, which is kind of like the live account, I guess, at this point. Like the only non-bot account that covers live. So yeah, it looks like he is going, which I'm not surprised. I
Yeah,
mean, there's talks that
every
Finau and Hatton are
every
going to do it.
British news outlet is reporting it. So you have like Mail Sport, Daily Mail, Guardian Sport. They're all reporting that he's signed. So yeah, I guess there goes another one. And a counter to that, a follow up to that, there have been some reports. Again, these reports you need to take with a grain of salt, but there have been some reports that Victor Hovland has now changed his stance on LIV Golf and wants to sign um, as soon as possible. I don't believe a second of that, but again, I said that when the John Rahm things happened. So some reports are suggesting your man might be leaving as well.
Uh, yeah, I guess it could. I don't. From what I heard from Espen Blaker, that guy's name, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think. I thought he said that he's like not going to live. I thought that was like his whole thing.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I heard too. But there's plenty of accounts who are now saying they're credible that he's going. So I don't know.
yeah, I mean it's kind of just a wait and see. I don't really take anything with a grain of salt at this point. I don't really blame anyone for going at this point. I just have a problem that I had more problem with Rom is that he just outwardly kind of says things, and obviously things change over time. I mean, I get that. Um, I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, I think they're going to merge at some point. I don't know when that will be. That could be tomorrow. That could be in a year or two.
Hmm.
So that is basically that. So I was thinking about Pebble Beach. I was doing my research for the tournament. Um, this week. That starts on Thursday, and I kind of just like was just thinking about golf courses, and I was like, where does Pebble rank for you in like the biggest golf brand golf courses in the world, if that makes sense?
It's easily number one, and I had the fortunate chance to go out in 2019 the entire week. My dad was volunteering out there. It's it's just a true spectacle. I mean, it is so just wonderful in person. The seventh hole is just mind blowing. It really is. And one of the funniest things that happened was the Sunday before the tournament started. We went to a walk on the beach, which is called Carmel Beach or Carmel by the Sea, something like that. And the
Hmm.
cliffs along geez, was it the 10th or the 11th hole? Um, you can climb up those. So I made a pretty good decision to climb up that and actually got onto the property. And no more than 1 minute later, do I hear a van come zooming around the corner. Get off, get off. Um, so that was pretty cool. And then right after I got off, a couple more vans appeared and they just posted security guards at all the walkways that you could get onto the course from. So that's a pretty cool story. But it's such a wonderful property. It really is. Um, and yeah, there it's clearly number one to me.
You think it's clear number one biggest brand? Like
I do.
Augusta? I mean, I
And
think Pebbles. I think Pebbles too, but I think Augusta is number one just because you
so here's
like
here's here's my counter to
like
that.
the
Here's my
tournaments
counter to
on.
that. I do see what you mean that Augusta is potentially number one, but in terms of brand awareness, I think Pebble is number one in the US and Augusta is number one global, right? I think that especially like Pebble's like golf brand, like their clothing brand, like Pebble Beach, not merchandise, like they have their own uh, manufacturer. I don't know how else to call it. Like they have their own brand of that. I think that just given the recognition of the course and how easily you can say like Pebble Beach, and how wonderful the property is, I think that that's what puts it over the edge. But then if you ask people from around the world, what would be number one would be Augusta, purely off of recognition from the Masters. That'd be my opinion on it.
I mean, if you talk to people that are not in the United States, they might say like St. Andrews.
That's very true as well. Yeah.
I think Augusta is just on T. I like. I mean, it's definitely. I think they're clear 1, 2, and then St. Andrews is 3. I remember like Foreplay did this, and they're like, okay, like there's a main 3, but then after that, like what's 4 and 5, which is up to debate for sure. But I think that Augusta, I think just because like they're on TV every year,
Mm-hmm.
they have an entire week for the non-average fan that everyone knows that it's the Masters. You have like a green jacket, but I think Pebble's also up there as number 2, and I think also them being public also helps. That, but yeah, that's a. I've never been. I've never been really close to ever going to Pebble. I don't think anytime soon I'll be able to go because the prices are outrageous to go because like the green fee is like now for Pebble Beach it's $625, but then people don't understand that you have to stay on property. So like you have to stay at like their hotel,
So
which
that's partially true. There's sometimes during the year that isn't fully true. But then again, your chances of getting a tee time are slim to none. So that's mostly true, but there's some portions of the year where you don't have to stay at the resort. But then if you do have to stay at the resort, that's thousands of dollars. So yeah,
yeah, I mean, but also at that point, if you're playing Pebble, you might as well just get the whole Pebble experience.
yeah,
Like you can't
exactly, exactly.
you can't not just like I don't know. For me, it's like with those type of things in life, it's like you either do it or like you don't do it. Like
Hmm.
get the full experience. Like don't like
Cheap out,
have
yeah.
like yeah, like don't have like cheap out and just be like, oh, like I'm gonna like do this and that. I mean, um, but yeah, I don't think I'm playing Pebble anytime soon. Hopefully, at some point, take my dad and 2 brothers and do it at some point before we get too old. But like my dad had like the greatest gig ever. Like his company, like he went out with his company once. This was like years ago, like early
Hmm.
2000s maybe or mid 2000s, and his company was like a client event. So he played all the courses, or I think he only played like 3 of them, for basically free. And he has a funny story. I might be kind of botching this, but maybe he'll probably call me later and tell me the story after he hears this. But he had a on 18, I think he was in like the fairway on the famous par 5, and he wanted to lay up, and his caddy was like, "You don't travel to Philly, you don't travel all the way from Philly and cross country to hit like a 7-iron and
Hmm.
lay up on the par 5." So he had a 3-wood. I think he hit it decently well, and I think he made par
Hmm.
um, on the par 5. So that's like kind of his moment that kind of the story that he always tells at Pebble Beach. But it's I also thought to myself like how many like I think the broadcast will bring this up, but I'm wondering like how they do it. But I think they definitely will bring up that Jersey Jerry did get his hole
Oh,
in one
absolutely,
on that par 3.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, they 100% will. It's gonna be really funny to hear. I mean, the potential of Jim Nance talking about Jersey Jerry's virtual hole in one. But I think that's a given. If not, at a minimum, you'll see many posts from the PGA Tour of like reliving what happened when the tournament starts. But the thing that I am happy about is Pebble Beach is finally getting signature event status. It's always been unfortunate to see that beautiful of a property and course get. It's still the pro-am, but get a lesser crop of players, I guess is the best way to put it. So it's just for pure scenery. I mean, I've always been shocked that not, there has been more money pumped into it than, you have these elevated events, signature events, all this stuff coming uh, into the game. So it's very good to finally see Pebble get that signature event.
Yeah, 2 things. I actually think well now that I'm thinking about it, Trevor Immelman's like a foreplay guy. and
Mhm.
I forgot that CBS does this event. So yeah, there's a great chance that Jerry gets his shout out, at least from him, and then Jim Nantz can, as you said, go into it. But I think, yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, like Pebble never got, like, I guess last year was the first time they did the signature events, and it's like kind of
Mhm.
questionable that they didn't make this a signature event, just because, like, if you're the tour, you want to, give a shining light to the top courses that we have to, as you said, arguably the top brand of the golf course we have in our sport. Uh, I kind of was listening to Andy Lack last night before bed, and he kind of posed this good question, but do you think, like, Pebble isn't the longest course anymore? It's very short. You don't need driver. You can hit like a 3-wood and iron off tees and still have like a wedge in. Greens are very tiny. Like, it seems like Pebble's one of those courses where you can't really make it much longer than it is.
Mhm.
And is it like, do you think it's kind of like an outdated course with the kind of the style that golfers play now?
I do. It's tough because I think when you want to talk um about, rolling back the golf ball, I think that something like Pebble Beach would jump to the list of courses that would strongly benefit from it, given that how its bombers can just turn into a birdie fest. But then again, I think it's one of the only properties that I'm okay with it becoming that birdie fest, right? Like I'd rather have it be that way or in a US Open setup. I don't want this roll back the golf ball stuff or, crap or something like that. I think that again, it's just purely scenery based, but I will watch the tournament if it's 30 under or 5 under is the winning score. Like it's indifferent to me.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that the average golfer in today's day and age does overpower the course. So it's always interesting because it really depends on what the tour wants in their defense. In the golf course defense, they want challenging pin positions, going out the rough, or something like that. And it kind of seems like they don't really care about the scores at Pebble specifically. Um, Nor did they. I mean, they don't care about the American Express either, but that's a different story. But yeah, um, yeah, those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah. I mean, I think Pebbles, yeah, it's one of those courses that I think you have to shine a light on every year. Um, maybe we have so much history of the course. It's one of the courses where, yeah, like we can go play it. You know, it doesn't really matter like the amount of money. Like we can still go play it and hit the shots like Tiger and um Kepka and all those guys and Rahm and Phil and Spieth who have won here. I think just because it's not a bomber's paradise where you can hit
Mhm.
driver, I don't think that shouldn't make it that they don't have to play it. There is some true craft of short game shots. I know that, Hovland has played well here before.
Uh-huh.
He's won the 2018 USM, was the low am at
And yep.
2019.
Hmm.
US Open, I think he was like probably, and he finished decently well last year. So it's like Hovland is a top 5 driver that we have in our sport, and he can compete without hitting probably a driver. So I think just having that test and having like the different courses and setup, not just having all right, you hit it 330 yards and hit a wedge and try to make a putt. So I think there is
Hmm.
some creativity to it and charm that I don't think Pebble will ever go away. Obviously, and I hope they don't just because it's not a long course. I know that I don't really prep you to give a prediction, but any gut feeling on this Monday morning on who you think might be able to contend or win Pebble, just off the top of like your head?
Give me 5 seconds. Let me. Where are you?
I can give mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think, we've seen this player win in California a lot. He hasn't won Pebble yet. So I think Max Homa gets his Pebble win this week.
Sure.
He's, I think he's the best putter in this field. Good wedge player. He played decently well last week, but I just think that, I don't know. I think he's due. I think he keeps up this Cali run. I think everyone's going to be on him at the Genesis. And I think everyone will be on him at the Genesis because I think he wins Pebble this week, gets another California win. And yeah, that's just my gut feeling on this at 7:35 this morning.
Yeah. I don't really have a gut feeling, but I'll just run through the entry list and give you who I think would play well. Ludwig Aberg should play well here. Um, the
Yeah, what are
trio of
are
Tony,
like the odds out?
there's no odds out, so I'm just running through the entry list. The trio of Tony Finau, Fitzpatrick, and Matthew Fitzpatrick, and Tommy Fleetwood, and Fowler as well should actually play well here. Nick Hardy could be a sneaky play. I think his game would suit well for Pebble. Um, you could say Højgaard coming off of his tied second
Shout out.
finish at the Farmers. Shout out. Uh, Tom Kim is an interesting name here. This could be not a breakthrough week for him, but that would be a good win. Hideki, if I'm not mistaken, was in contention in 2019 at the U.S. Open, and Rory anywhere he plays. Mark Howe is an interesting one given the iron play. Pavon, I don't even think you can play him this week. I just think that's an automatic no. Um, I mean, Schauffele and Scheffler, Scotty and Xander are interesting, but I wouldn't love that. I feel like this course it does set up well for Spieth, great putter of the golf ball. Oh, Sepp Straka, hilarious. Um, Another great memorable part of 2019 was I was
What does that
on
trucker do?
oh gosh, what hole is it? What hole is it? What is the par 5 15? Wait, I need to go through it. 18, 17, 16, 15, 14th. 14th hole, the par 5. I was walking down the fairway and I start hearing four chants. Uh, and I turn over and it turns out that Sepp Straka hit his ball into a porta potty. Like there was like a row of porta potties. So I have a hilarious video of him then hitting from these porta potties and just this crowd going or
Hmm.
just cheering. Great video, great video. Um, but yeah, hopefully he plays well here because that's how I first heard of him back in 2019 before he was even a big name. No.
I think we might have lost Ethan. Uh, well, that's unfortunate. I think Ethan will come back. Uh, kind of lost his Sepp Straka story, mid story. But yeah, I think Homa can win and contend. Let me give you a sleeper that I have is Eric Cole. He's currently at plus 6,000, and last week was probably the easiest fade of Eric Cole. You don't play Eric Cole at a course where you have to drive it well, drive it long. Ethan can't get back in. So yeah, I think Eric Cole is a big sleeper. I think this course fits him well. He finished decently well last year. You want to put Eric Cole at a course where you hit wedges and you have to make putts. You don't have to drive it far. Just keep it straight. He's not really the most accurate off the tee, but if it's not long, then everyone's kind of playing from like the same area. small greens. So if you put a wedge in Eric Cole's hands, most times than not, he is going to compete. And I think that if he can make some putts, he can compete. And I think this is a great spot for Eric Cole. I think a lot of people will be on JT Poston. He's at plus 7,000. He also is one of the best wedge players we have. He's a great putter too. So kind of the same story with Cole. With Poston, I think Poston is also playing the best golf of his career. I kind of want to keep riding that hot hand with Poston. I was just going over some sleepers while I guess the Straka story is just not meant to kind of come out to the public.
Did the Straka story not? You couldn't hear it?
Well, you were like in and out, so I didn't really hear any of it besides that there's a porta potty. Which it's kind of fun that you bring that up because was it a fan or golfer that got caught on the drone taking a leak?
Yeah, I forget who that was.
Bushes on 18.
Yeah, I forget who that was, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I'll recap the Straka story because the public needs to hear it. My Wi-Fi stinks right now. I'll probably lose connection as well really soon because it's starting to buffer already. But 14th hole, par 5. He hit the ball to the left. I was walking along the fairway. There's a big set of porta potties. He hit the ball right next to the porta potties. And then I was in the crowd, front row view of him hitting out of the porta potties. Hilarious video. And that's how I became introduced to the Austrian beauty that is Sepp Straka. So, there's your story.
Yeah. So, yeah, I gave a couple of sleepers just to fill some time, and we can cut those for shorts. But before we hop off, I was thinking about, like, what is one club that you would use on a par 5, 500 yards to make par with?
Pitching wedge. Pitching wedge. Yeah. Because I think that club's puttable with. I could probably get 130 out of it. So 3 strikes, and I just hit a good pitching wedge on the 4th shot, and then make the short putt from there. You?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would be able to make par with the pitching wedge. It'd probably have to be like probably like a 7-iron. I mean, I'll say it depends what like the green is, but if you're talking about just like a hole that just goes straight out and there's a green, like I would say at 7-iron, I could hit it twice and hit a bump and run, be playing like for birdie. Like I know like I know like Foreplay has done this with like Morikawa to try to do it with like a 60, but obviously they're pros. But I don't think I'm long enough with my pitching wedge. I probably hit my pitching wedge like 125 yards if I like, I guess like I could try to blade it, but like the blade could go anywhere. I could go right or left and then like I'm just like hitting it anywhere. So I think if I'm trying to hit a club that, I'm comfortable with a 7-iron just to hit it straight like 2 times and then maybe just like hit like a bump and run and then 2 putt for par could probably be the easiest. But, I think that these types of, like, I don't know how you feel about these. I know that we're a little bit on time, but I just had this thought, but, like, when Spieth and Tiger and JT and Rory did that match, they did, like, a one-club challenge and stuff, and I think that these matches, I think they have to kind of, like, do, like, a good style, and just do, like a one-club challenge, or, like, a spinning on, like, what club you hit. Because, like, just, like, watching another Akoma, and Rory, and 2 LPGA, Tour players are playing a skins game in a couple of weeks. But I just think, like, for the PGA and stuff, I think, like, with these matches, I think if they can just get into, like the whole content game of it, and kind of not just do, like, the skins game, but, like, do, like, these like fun challenges. I think that's a lot more appealing than just having them play golf that we already see them do.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
it's
It's
just
a more
my
engaging
take.
style. I definitely agree that. So,
I just
uh,
messaged Tracking Hovland and asked is Hovland going to live. So um,
well, I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out from our
yeah.
only reliable source, right?
I mean, I can find some other sources.
Yeah,
Nick
but
Hardy.
our most
Uh,
reliable.
yeah,
Ask him
yeah.
if
I mean,
his good buddy's going.
Nick Hardy. Yeah, I've been striking out with Nick Hardy. He's seeing
Yeah.
my messages, but he's not getting back. He's not
Mm.
responding. So if you go to the API, I'll have to talk to like the big dog, see what's going on.
Yeah, see,
Because
see, see
I'm
if you
trying.
can hash out the issues.
Yeah, we are having some couples therapy, I think.
You need
But
it.
no,
Yeah.
I messaged. No, I think Nick going to round 3 or round 2 was up there on the leaderboard, so I texted him and said, good luck and stuff. So he always sees my message, but I haven't gotten a response in a while. But I still think
Mm.
Nick's a good fan, a great friend of mine, and hopefully if I do go out to the API, that I see him soon. Maybe I'll walk, the 9 holes with him, inside or outside the ropes, maybe carry the bag, like his caddy needs someone, but, I don't have much, I never played, um, the Armor Plumber, so I don't have much course, but I can give some stats. If he needs, like, the stats of, where to hit it, I can look on Data Golf and Rick One Good and, give him the stats to, compete, so, um,
Just
that's,
don't get a restraining
stay
order
tuned.
from him. Don't get a restraining order.
No, it's all respect, and fun and
It's
games.
all respect.
I keep it real with Nick, so
Easy enough. Easy enough. So yeah, thank you to everyone out there for listening. Yeah, keep looking forward to the weekly podcast, and the golf season has hit the ground running, and maybe we'll go for a fifth consecutive week of a long shot. You never know. You have to stop it.
uh, have to end it. Oh wait, am I the host?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know
I'm
if I can
keeping
do it on
this
this
in, by
app.
the way. When we edit it, I'm keeping this in because this is funny.
Well, you don't have to edit it if you're just keeping this out. Um, I can't end this besides just leaving the studio. If that's
Okay.
because I'm not because how am I can't be the host.
Well, because I got kicked out.
Yeah, but the host got kicked. I mean, I have no. There's no power. I can't end this. This is just going to go on forever.
Uh-oh. So I guess leave.
I mean, this is your studio because you're the account that
All
pays for
right.
this.